Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise direct force to fully and our powerful and precise direct force pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar world champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to the season opener of the Apex Racing Academy F3 series. And what better way to start the season than here at Watkins Glen? It's known affectionately as the Glen, and it's the spiritual home of road racing in the USA, with crowds flocking here to see top-level racing since the 1940s. And, well, I'm sure we're bound to see an absolute lifetime of action out of track and excitement. I can't wait for it. I'm Tim Cox. We've got John Robertson in the production booth, but right now I'm joined by Lee Thompson. Lee, welcome along. Well, what can we say about Watkins Glen? Of course, got a bit of a refresh recently within iRacing and to bring it up to a more modern standard. And well, it's still all the classic circuit that we know and love.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that the guys have updated the track and got it to where it is now. So yeah, thank you, Tim. Like I say, it's good to be back on another ARL broadcast. And F3, man, I mean, say round one here for season 6. It's going to be a cracker. We've got a decent size field as well, 40 odd drivers. Should be fun out there for these 4 races.
I should most certainly be indeed. We've got qualifying. That's just currently underway. The driver's just on their out laps before we take off into, well, what's going to be an absolute festival of action, I'm sure, with heat races and then coming through to the final. It's going to be fast and furious, and the drivers are going to have to really not hang around if they want to try and make progress due to the short lengths of each of the race. Of course, 12 minutes each, and then the final being 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think we're actually going to have 4 races in total, right? So yeah, we've got 2 heats at the start, which, like I say, both 12 minutes. Top 10 from each of those heats then progress straight to the final, and the rest then get put through into the B final, which is 12 minutes again. Top 4 from the B final then get added to those first 20 into the A final, and that's our final race, like you say, 15 minutes long, and that will determine the who's going to have the best start to this 9-round season here.
Going to be absolutely fascinating seeing already. So you feel the drivers pushing a bit hard. They're just coming out into the run between the second to last and the final corner there, and well, just overcooking it a little bit on the cold tyres, of course. With the new change to the season, the F3 got a tyre model update, and from where we're speaking to a few of the drivers, Lee, it seems like it takes a little bit longer to come in. However, when it does, it seems to be gripping so much more, and it's really excited quite a few of the racers.
Well, I mean, that's good to hear. You know, it sounds a bit more realistic, doesn't it? You know, the tyres coming in gradually and actually kind of hanging on and not overheating too easily, not being too sensitive. I mean, we know that there's been a huge update with tyres for the GT3 cars, for instance, where iRacing are heading much more in that sort of direction. So, if the guys at the F3 are seeing that improvement with the tyres and that feeling, then awesome. It's going to be much easier for them to race, isn't it?
Just topping the timing sheets with provisional pole position at the moment on 37.1, and a Scandinavian field looks to the top 5 with drivers making up 4 of the top 5 positions. Rosenkrantz the only driver to break into that sector. However, let's look at the Brits of Petty and Hermer. They'll be fighting in for only 7th and 8th position. Those two, I know that they're teammates and very well off track, and I'm sure we'll be working together quite a bit. I mean, it's the slipstream here, Lee. It's so crucial, isn't it? That run out of the 90, turn 1, all the way to the outer loop, where we're seeing them right now.
Well, and it's going to be especially critical tonight, isn't it? Because we're not going to have the chicane in the middle to kind of interrupt things. So, that's just going to be a huge opportunity for people to get that run. And I mean, how much is that going to affect things with maybe kind of setup philosophies, you know? So are you going to run that skinny wing so you can kind of traditionally blast past? Well, actually, perhaps going for a slightly more higher downforce setup so you can, really stay on the guy through the twisty stuff is still going to enable you to make the move on the straight with all of that opportunity for a slipstream. It'll be interesting to see the different philosophies that we have as we go into the race.
Yes, like you say, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of philosophy, like you say, the drivers imply in terms of their setups, whether they elect to go for, like you say, that more skinnier wing for the higher top speed and look for, big sense and big slipstream moves. We just see Rosenkrantz there moving to the top of the timing sheets. First driver to break into the 136s there with a 136.975. However, Rasmussen only 6,000th of a second slower. I mean, I think a blink of an eye, Lee, is something like 0.3 of a second. I mean, if you base it on that covers all the way on basically a whole top 10.
Yeah, so that's awesome to see. Like I say, super top close between the top 2. But as you said, it's more importantly, we're down to a second, and it's 22nd position at that point. So that is what we want to see. And like you say, with that draft, it should just be a train. So I mean, here's hoping that the guys can get through the first lap. Hey, so can they get up through turn 1, through the S's, cleanly onto that back straight, and then we should have some good races on our hands. But the beauty of the format, of course, is that the guys are still will get a second opportunity anyway. So it's not like it's a long half-hour race or something where that's their day done. They'll have an opportunity to get back in the B final. So once the qualifying results are done, of course, then all the odd finishers will be entered into one, which will come up first. All the even guys will have a little bit of a breather, and it will give them an opportunity to, watch that race, think about strategy, think about kind of where moves are being made, and then those drivers will get their chance in the second heat.
Around about 3 minutes of qualifying left to go, and you see Torp just moving up a position there into 8th. I mean, well, for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, incredibly close between them. Just under 1/100th of a second separating those 4 places from Hermer to Torp. It is so close out there. And as you were saying, Lee, a second now covering basically our top 22 drivers right now as Luedo just heads up into 15th there, the Spanish driver. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, and well, not long left at all, and a few drivers on outlap, and especially with this sort of a longer time it takes to get the tyres warmed up here, Lee. I feel like a few of those drivers that are currently heading on outlaps now, just looking at the clock, we've got about 2.5 minutes left to go in qualifying. They might potentially struggle a little bit, but the track is constantly evolving, it's becoming more grippy, so it might play into the hands a little bit.
Absolutely, and all it's going to take, with us having open qualifying, rather than solo qualifying, all it's going to take as well is a good run with that draft as well. If you're lucky, you get yourself in the right spot of the train, don't get held up in the rest of the track, then it's going to make a huge difference. You're going to leap up the field with this 1 second gap between so many cars. So yes, then all's played for these guys in the last couple of minutes.
Definitely, and just watching the Scotsman there, Alistair Hay. Just heading round out through the chute and down to the toe. Of course, the boot section of Watkins Glen. More technical, but still overtaking opportunities there. But I think we haven't really touched on it too much so far yet, Lee. But the big overtaking opportunities, surely they've got to come into turn 1, the 90, and as you come round through the carousel, or the outer loop as it's also called, at the end of the long back straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's plenty of opportunities all round, and Rasmussen, coming into the end of a lap. I mean, is he going to be able to find this last little bit of time to really get that pole position? Well, of course, it's not really going to. I say pole position, not really going to matter. He's either just going to be first in Heat 1 or first in Heat 2. So there's no pressure going on. But yeah, time ticking down.
Indeed, less than a minute remaining in qualifying, and see Johnny on an improving lap time now in 23rd place with 137.9, just inside 38 there, but he'll take that every which way. And just having a bit of a look, Rasmussen, no improvement there from him. He's not going to have a lot. I think that's going to be qualifying done and dusted for him. Martinsson, the Swede, currently in 8th place. He's in the pits. Likewise, Deck, the German, in 19th. Charney, they sort of headed into the pits. They've had enough for qualifying. They're going to settle for what they've got so far. And having a bit of a look in terms of improvement. I think Hammer's on an improving lap. He's one driver to keep an eye out for. The Brit currently in 6th place right now. But as the clock clicks over, that is it, done and dusted. And we're going to head across now to race 1 of the evening, the first of the 2 heat races. Of course, all the odd-numbered drivers in terms of whether they're qualified, they are going to take to the grid first of all. So Rosenkrantz, he'll be taking pole position with the German. He's got Torp alongside him for company. There's Paddy Westman on the 2nd row of the grid with Larson and Braun on the 3rd row. Wenstra and Algazari in the 4th row with Luedo and Moro on the 5th row. The grid taking up to 10th place. Then it's Boberg, Scarrett, Cockram, Kybach, Russell and Glamsetter with Blay, Arroyo, and, well, the 2 Arroyos there. Identical names, just to make things nice and confusing for us here in the commentary booth. But, yes. Yeah, both at 18th and 19th there. And, wow, it's going to be so crucial. Of course, you can see from the different coloured denotions there, we've got, of course, AMs and pros as well. That's where the field's split out is as well to keep one eye on as too.
Yeah, and we've just got, and on the note of pros and AMs, we've got Kjetil Larsen, who actually hasn't been assigned a pro or AM status as of yet because he was a very late entry. So we'll have to wait until after the race and see which class he is designated. But yeah, guys are starting to grid up, minute or so to go. And then we'll be ready for this first 12-minute race. And I dare say we're going to get a corker in this first one. And nice to see a good split as well, by the way, in the grid with between those pros and AMs. Decent amount of AMs in there as well.
Definitely indeed. And interesting to see who is going to come out on top. Well, we haven't got long to wait until just wait for the last drivers to take to the grid. Here we go. We get ready to go racing in race 1 here. Get hyped, everyone, because it is time to go racing at Watkins Glen. and we are away. And Rosenkrantz making a good start there, Torp, pulling alongside him, but looks like they're just going to assume their places they had on the grid as they come round the 90 for the first time. Rosenkrantz runs it out a bit wide. The movement in the background there. This was a couple of the IGL coatings drivers, Scarab just involved in that as well. As they head out down the back straight for the first time, we're going to find out who's running the skinnier of the wings. Watch out for Petty in third. He's going to get the double drag off the two in front of him as we've got three wide in the background there. Larson locked in the middle as they come round. Now through the carousel for the first time, and Rosenkrantz, he's out onto the grass. He just about managed to collect it, but this is Torp's chance to make his way through. But he's going to have his work cut out around the outside, and he just has to back out of it. But now this is going to give Petty the chance to come back at the pair of them, but he just needs to settle down. And well, after all that, instantly they've all remained as they are amazingly. It's like they're on top of one another.
Yeah, good clean start, as you say, and it's just battling all the way through the field. We can see that long train of cars all the way back to the previous corner. I see ARA pair just a little bit off the back of the field in 18th and 19th, but everyone else within half a second of each other, right from first to 17th.
Yeah, Glamset's just lost a couple of places further down the field. One of the best of starts that he would have hoped for, the Crips Racing driver. But right now, they're all tucked up behind one another as they come out the final corner for the first time to head off onto their, what will be their first flying lap, the second lap of Heat 1. Rosenkrantz leads them top. Petty in third, Vestman, Svenja, Larson, Braun, Luedo, Alguari and Scarrett. Round out your top 10 so far with Scarrett. He's already up 2 places, so if we can make up some more, but right now it's all about whether Torp can get past Rosenkrantz for the lead, but we've got a battle emerging here. Boberg trying to get himself inside the top 10. Garrett follows the line along. Oh, there's contact in the background there. I think that's Glamsetter. He's off and into the wall and a big shunt here. And Boberg just holding on to that first place. Likewise, Rosenkrantz holding on to first place out in front. Wow. I'm not too sure how those two did not get past, well, Torp didn't get past Rosenkrantz. I mean, he had the slipstream all the way out of turn 1 and still couldn't quite get the move done.
Yeah, really be interesting to see how that plays out as we continue lap after lap. Did Torp just have a bit of a lift and decide that he had enough space to the car behind and that he wasn't interested in leading the pack for now? We'll have to wait and see. But a little bit of a late move up the inside for Larson, but couldn't get the opportunity, and might be a little bit more under pressure now from Alzagara as they come towards the back of the circuit. But all line astern for now. Just a tiny bit behind Boberg and Scarrett as well, pretty close they came off that corner, but no move happening quite yet. Cracking job so far, first couple of laps of round 1 season 6.
Only had 1 casualty amazingly so far. Glamsetter ending up in the wall unfortunately, but seeing Mauro trying to make his way past here, but Cockrum having none of it whatsoever. Just finding grip around the outside, but Cockrum's going to come under a lot of pressure now, the PDR driver, but he's starting to fall off the train in front of him. This is going to bring him a whole world of pain if he falls out of the slipstream range, because he's going to leave himself completely and utterly vulnerable to the American. But looks like we're going to have a change for the lead up front, or maybe not. Rosenkrantz, he's loving that inside line there. He's able to still find plenty of grip coming through the corner, but also keeping hold of that first place.
Yeah, like I say, really just kept the momentum going through then, didn't he? And like I say, staying under control for now. The front two just gapping third position just by 8 tenths or so, but no such gaps further back in the field as we're looking at that battle again for 11th position between Alzagara and Mauro again. And Alzagara just holding on still for now.
Looking to get his way past Scarrett here. Scarrett, last place inside the top 10. And oh, as you see Scarrett pushed out really wide there. Of course, you can run out all the way out onto that. Well, it's now a tarmac section. It used to be there's nearly contact between the pair of them there. Almost banging wheels, and there is the contact. And Scarrett, well, he's lost his front wing and his front nose. He's come off the worst, and That's surely going to be a trip into the pits for him, as well, couldn't quite get into the pit lane there, and that's spun from the lack of downforce. And Sagari, well, I'm amazed he's not come off with any damage there.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It all looked a bit unnecessary, wasn't it? They were very lucky just a moment before as their kind of wheels interlocked, but they got away with it, and then just so close. Looked like maybe a little bit of netcode, but still, you know, a little bit of breathing space between each other, and we just play those percentages, especially so early. So yeah, unfortunately for both of them, they'll have the opportunity to come back in the B-final.
Well, an amazing battle happening here between Vestman, just trying to hold off the Dutchman behind him. Zenstra desperately trying to find his way past, and I tell you what, our top 5 seems to be breaking away now, and the gap emerging between 5th and 6th, and Paul just is currently occupying that 6th place, just seems to be dropping off a little bit. And as I was mentioning before, that if they fall out of slipstream range, it's definitely caused them a whole world of pain, where they then, you know, you see these big gaps start to emerge.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's going to start developing as we come through the second half of the race, and we'll have these different groups building up. But say at the minute, yeah, there's not much more than a second through most of the field still. So maybe sort of one split at Cochrane, and that's probably about it. But say remember, this race is just about those top 10 positions. That's all you need to concentrate on. So the battle really at the moment is for Mauro and Kaibach to try and close up on Cochrane and drag themselves into that top 10.
Just seeing this brilliant battle all over 4th place right now. Top 3, they've remained as they were. It's at a relatively quiet place since making his way up into 3rd, but can Vestman do? Can he defend once more? But I think he's going to have to heal this one. But of course, we've seen Rosencrantz have a lot of pace on that inside line. The Vestman's currently on, but wow, what an overtake round the outside. Zenstra gets himself up into 4th.
Yeah, cracking job, let's say, sweeping around the outside. It looked nice and clean, didn't it? And we'll see now if he can just close up on Gavin Petty just ahead and start putting the pressure on a podium spot or not. So he's within striking distance, 7 tenths, so yeah, not out of touch with that slipstream. And back looking now at Lado and Larson. Larson really tucked up underneath the rear wing. Is he going to have a little jink out to the inside before they get in towards the heel? It does, but not enough to actually make a move that time by, and both very wide out on that run-off tarmac. I mean, that's still a bit of getting used to there, Tim, being tarmac on outside. You know, you think, where are you going? There's grass out there, and no, nice clean bit of tarmac run-off for him now.
Yeah, it's taken me still a bit of time to adjust to having, like you say, no grass, and certainly no gravel trap all the way out there, and being able to run it all the way out there, and 9K and off track. And well, you see these two definitely fully accustomed to it right now as they head down through the 90 and begin a long run all the way up through the S's, down the back straight into the carousel. Who is going to come out on top? Will it be the way though? Larson, of course, already down 3 places into 8. To redeem some of that, but well, it's these two at it again, Zenstra and Vestman, but the opposite way around. Vestman will be looking to get it removed around the outside like he had done to him the previous time, but they still remain side by side on the exit of the carousel. And Vestman, he's going to hold it in there, and well, he gets the move done, gets himself back up into 4th in, well, an amazing style.
Yeah, good diving from both of them on that one, wasn't it? Nice and clean, got a bit close at times, you know, a bit nervous as to whether there was going to be contact, but they're both able to hold their lines enough. And I think it's just going to keep going through the remaining laps between these two as Vents just tries to have a little nose on the inside, but not quite close enough. But Westman gave him a lot of space on the apex, really put himself under a lot more pressure on the exit than might have expected. But yeah, Zwims is certainly going to have the opportunity to come back at him, if not on the back straight, then before, from the looks of it. But of course, this has blown, Tim, their opportunity to go for that podium spot now. I was saying a second ago how they were just 7 tenths behind Gavin Petty, but it's more like 1.5 now. So these guys are settling for 4th position at the moment.
So still getting through into the final. I mean, I know they're being racing drivers, and you try to tell them that to them. You know, they're all about trying to get ahead of the car in front of them. But these guys can afford to surely now, Lee, just take it a bit easier and just bring the car home safely. I mean, we're inside the last 2 minutes of Heat 1, and surely it's all about just consolidation now and ensuring that you get yourself through to the next round.
Absolutely. I mean, there are still points for the heats, you know, so you are still racing for championship points, even though, you know, you want to make sure you get into the A final. But yeah, you know, the guys need to work out yeah, how much of a risk they want to take, play those percentages a little bit, especially early in the season. You know, you just need to bank those points if you're looking to challenge somewhere at the front of a championship for sure. Leader of the AMs, by the way, is Boberg at the minute. So Rickard Boberg looking pretty comfortable in the AM Championship with a couple of pros between him and the next driver of then Michael Blay, and in fact one less driver, because right as I say that Michael Blay gains a place. But yeah, Boberg doing well there in 9th overall.
Just having a bit of a look, because Maro's just dropped a couple of places as Blay and Alzagari headed past them. I think he's just had a bit of an off track somewhere. Just see what happened to him. He's now down to 13th and bottom, well, not quite bottom of the pile of the pro drivers called Scarrett. We lost him a few laps ago. Let's take a look at what happened on this replay. So this is Mauro just looking back from his car right now. There's Cochran, I believe, on the outside of us. There he is. And oh, bit of a wheel bang there. And a bit of netcode as well, potentially. And wow, that's what initially caused Cochran, sorry, Mauro to just drop a bit of pace, but
looks like he's got wheel damage. I think Tim you see is just struggling along that whole rest of the straight. So yeah, unfortunate, caused a lot of damage for him for not a huge impact. But guys are on their final lap, and so the battle between the lead two, Rodzank and Torp, still as they were, a couple of attempts between them, but yeah, very close back here as well between Blay and Algutari again, and looking like Blay was gonna sweep across, but yeah, Algutari ends up comfortably in front.
White flag is fully out, 1 lap left to go, and well, these two know it up the front. Rosenkrantz and Torp now trying to mount an attack to snatch the victory away from Rosenkrantz at the depth. Rosenkrantz, he's led it basically every single lap here in Heat 1, and he's only got a couple of corners left. There's not really overtaking opportunities through here, and the German will be desperate just to be sure he just gets it through smoothly. Prevents the Scandinavian behind him from taking it, but as he comes out of the final corner, Rosenkrantz is going to take the victory here in Heat 1. Torp is second, Petty rounding out the podium. Bit of a fight there to the line. Zentra, I think, he's finishing 4th. With Vestman having to settle for 5th. We've got Boberg, he's taken the victory in the AM categories. Rounding out top 10 there with Blay and Russell rounding out your podium in the AM category. Those last two, 12th and 13th overall. And well, definitely interesting racing there, and I'm genuinely shocked and amazed that Rosenkrantz managed to lead every single lap there.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much Torp was really pushing him and how much he was just kind of decided that's where he was going to settle. But yeah, like I say, led all the way through. And on the other end of the top 10, Algusuari just missed out by 3/10 in the end from that 10th spot and getting into straight into the A final. So he's going to be taking part in the B final instead, as we can see on the results there. And so just in case you're confused on there, that one driver we had who hasn't got his class assigned, Larson, he's not showing in those results. So everyone back from Larson, who I think was what, 5th or 6th, Tim, everyone else gets pushed back one. And so then there we go, thank you, producer. We can now see, yeah, Alzagari is in that 11th spot, yeah, 3/10 off of 10th.
So he's mentioned Rosenkrantz, Torp and Petty on the podium in Heat 1 with Boberg, Blay and Russell in the podium in the AM categories. Well, we're now setting up for race 2 as well. Straight in, no holder on the action. Let's get ready to go racing in race 2 from Watkins Glen. We are instantly away. Rasmussen on on with Force alongside him as we're going to look for a bit of a change out in front, and Hermer could even make it up a place as well as Rasmussen desperate to try and stay inside this top three right now, and he's looking incredibly vulnerable as the Brit looming behind him. And Force, the Swede, is just headed off into the distance already 4 attempts clear of the pack behind him. Hermer moves out to the right hand side of the track, the left side of your screen right now with that 1-1-1 car as the field is getting tight, it's getting fast, it's getting furious out there as Rasmussen having to hold on round the outside of the carousel there. It's going to give him the inside line to the next corner, which is going to help him, but Herman needs to be careful because there's Martinson and Schnabel right behind him. As they're like the animals on Noah's Ark here, Lee. You know, just 2 by 2, literally pretty much the whole field.
And it looked like Vorst was maybe Noah in front out on his own, right? Yeah, Vorst on his own and everyone 2 by 2 behind. So yeah, so cracking job again for lap 1 so far from the field. Everyone's been pretty clean, and yeah, super close racing all the way through. I mean, it's the beauty of Watkins, right? You know, there are these corners where they switch back left to right, so you can try and keep that battle going. There are plenty of corners where you can try and hold on around that outside line and keep that momentum, and yeah, just promotes that good racing as well as the massive back straight, of course. But yeah, good stuff from his guys so far. Vorst still leading at the line, then Rasmussen, then Hermer, then Martinson, then Schnabel, and then Furman for our top 6. Furman gaining 3 spots off the grid.
So you see Gret just getting past Furman there to get up inside that top 6. Hay in 8th, Reeve at top of our AMs. They're already at 4 places and into 9th. Sorensen second in AM, 10th overall. The podium currently rounded out by Pop. This is 12th overall in the AM category. 4 big rises so far. Van Atken is the biggest one at 5 places into 13th, but we're seeing a change for 2nd place as Hermer makes his way past Rasmussen and just looking down the field just in the Gret. The American holding on to that 6th place, but there's a big squabble going on behind him and almost banging wheels there, Lee. I think Hay, the driver's caught up in that, and Reeve, another one of them.
Yeah, I was really lucky he didn't end up speared off onto the grass. We saw in the previous race that similar incident, and the driver getting quite severe wheel damage, but yeah, fortunately that time it looks like the guys had got away with it.
So Martin just trying to head past his teammate there, but to back out of it. Now Hermer leading this pack, and of course has positively checked out now 1.2 seconds clear of this gaggle of cars behind him. 4 cars fighting over the last 2 places on the podium in Heat 2. However, I mean, surely, Lee, you know, we've still got plenty of the race. We're just over a quarter race distance completed in Heat 2. Surely these guys behind need to work together to close that gap up onto the leader. But
yeah.
And as I say, that Hermer, new fastest lap on the race, going nearly 2 attempts quicker than our leader, Force.
Yeah, it's a good start, like you say, so if they can keep chipping away like that, they can try and claw Force back and start to make a sniff out of that opportunity at the lead, just as Negret is having a sniff at the top 5 position as well as he looks to pull up alongside Schnabel. I think it's a little bit early pulling out alongside. You know, ideally you wanted to try and time it so he had that slipstream a bit longer than peel off, and we can see that it's Martinson and Negret, sorry, who yeah, very close and just about holding on that time.
Incredibly tight stuff here in P2. As we see Negret just losing a place there to the German Furman. Making his way up into 6th. The American is not letting him have it easy as just snatches 6th place back away, but they're still side by side. It's like they're holding hands as they come round the circuit, and still they're battling it out here. And Negret, he won't give an inch. Furman, he won't budge an inch either, and they still remain side by side as Negret finally has to yield, settle for 7th place, but that is going to give him the important and crucial slipstream as they head through the S's and down the backstretch.
And they've just lost a huge amount of time now to the cars ahead, 2.5 seconds or so back, sorry, 3 seconds back almost. and it's really brought Hay and Sorensen straight back into that battle as well. So yeah, at the back end of that top 10, it's going to be looking very, very tight. And but then a couple of second gap to 10th position of Jack Reeve, who's under quite a bit of pressure from pro driver Stefan Deck for that 10th position.
See this as they come out onto the back straight. Who is going to come out on top between Furman and Negret? You've got Alistair Hay looming in the background, and we're going to go 3 wide here at Watkins Glen on the run down to the outer loop, and this could be tight. And Negret swoops down from the outside to claim back that 6th place. Hay up into 7th, and Furman, the big loser, dropping 2 places down to 8th.
Yeah, so I think losing those couple of spots now on these first few laps, almost halfway through this heat 2 already, of course, and now, yeah, Negret, if he wants to try and make any positions up, he's got to just get his nose down and try and claw his way up to the guys ahead, who have been squabbling themselves. So, you know, if they just put some clean laps in from those 6 positions back, they could well find themselves catching back up to these cars ahead, as no doubt they've been holding themselves up a bit at times as well. Vos we can still see nearly 2 seconds down the road though, and yeah, Rasmussen identical lap times last time by, and as they come to finish this lap, we'll see how that has changed.
Rasmussen, he has made it past Herman. Just while we're watching all that excitement and action further down the field in the pack of cars behind them, but well, as we said, it's a bit more of the power play, but still plenty of them, you know, being in behind the car in front of you. But still plenty of the race left, so still plenty of more overtaking opportunities. But it'll be interesting to see what Herman elects to do. Artisan and Schnabel just dropping off the back of these two a little bit now as Herman pulls out of slipstream and moves back up into 2nd ahead of Rasmussen there. But yeah, these two behind them, Artisan and Schnabel, just dropping off a little bit and finding themselves cut and grip very soon as Martin just heading up the inside there through chute. However, Schnabel not giving it up by any stretch of imagination. It looks like he's going to reclaim. Oh, no, big contact there. And Martinson, he is gone. That car is a write-off. And that's going to promote everyone behind him. He's headed straight to the pits. And, wow, this is the dangers of open wheelers and wheel-to-wheel racing, Lee.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Like I say, we've seen lots of close wheel-to-wheel action so far in this race. Here's a little look at it. It didn't seem like the car on the inside particularly kind of drifted wide. It didn't seem like Martinson particularly kind of pinched in and misjudged it completely. It was just one of those things ending up on both of them ending up on the same bit of tarmac. So yeah, unfortunate that time, but yeah, Schnabel was the one that kind of got away with it.
You see, Hay now just falling a little bit behind Negret. However, he's got Furman. He'll be desperate to nick that place back off him. Surely probably about the same spot as Hay took it from him on the last lap. Just looking in the background, just watching this all play out as the leader in AM is Sorensen, one of our Scandinavian contingent here, the Apex Racing Academy F3 League. We've currently got Reeve, he's 10th overall, 2nd in AM May. Holding on to that last podium place, 12th overall right now, as Hay electing to stay out on the racing line, trying to find some grip round the outside, and also, of course, I think this could be clever thinking from Hay, because it's going to give him the inside line into the chute, or is it? Because Furman just swoops down and almost just shut the door in Hay's face there. And wow, I wasn't expecting that from Furman.
No, like I say, very decisive, wasn't it? He decided he's not dropping down any further places. He's going to continue on and look to challenge further up if he can. But you know, these three just dropping off a little bit of Negret now as Hay trying to come around the outside. Is he going to be able to keep that drive off the corner? Not quite. And Furman just about manages to swoop in front and cut his nose off. Just a couple of minutes left of this race already. Tim, looks like Vos is looking pretty comfortable, but it's still kind of from 2nd position down to what, 10th. Anyone could pretty much finish in any order still, I think.
It is. It's so close. This sort of section, you see down the start finish straight there. everyone lined up, line astern as we head inside the last 2 minutes of Heat 2 here at Watkins Glen in round 1 of the season. It's going to get themselves to the podium within AM. It's incredibly close. Pop not far behind May, but could see a change for the lead in AM. The Smith heads past Sorensen. Now means that Sorensen is going to pick up 8 tenths of a second between himself and Reeve. He's currently 10th overall. Reeve just leads him out in place marks by Deck there. Likewise, Hay managed to get back past Furman. Himself up into 6th place. See Sorensen here, our leader in AM. That number 80 car. Desperate to get past Smith and just trying to put some more clear around. 1 cars between himself and Reeve.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, need to try and have that little bit of breathing space now. We'll see how they continue to battle out in these closing moments. Like I said, Sorensen, Deck and Reeve really in those key spots to try and progress into the A final. As Reeve is having a look on Deck, he is. Deck has to go very wide, I think, to avoid, and Deck loses out, struggling for rear grip on that exit. And yeah, we didn't quite get the best angle of, did Reeve come in a bit too hot and really push Deck off, or did Deck just give him a little bit too much space than was necessary? But yeah, Reeve is on a mission now and looking immediately to try and get a move on Sorensen as well. And we see the white flag is out. Yeah.
Nice 1, 2, 3. They're missing a weak. Well, broke front left suspension. That's Furman. And dropping from 3 something has happened to him. I do think he's had contact with the wall on the exit of the final corner. Well,
yeah, already damaged as they came over the start-finish line. Yeah. They are really unfortunate for Furman there. Like I say, it's got to be that classic, surely, of hitting that tyre barrier on exit. You run it out wide as close as you dare, and it's so easy just to misjudge it and clip the outside. So I'm sure that's what it would have been, as Reeve does get that move done on Sorensen, as we saw him looking to move up a couple of moments ago. And otherwise, there's actually not immediately looking like any moves happening now further up in the top 10. Looks like after the close battles all the way through, they've all just taken a little bit of breath on this final lap, and Vorse has got to be coming over the finish line any moment, I think.
It had settled down quite a bit, and there is our leader. And Vorse hardly mentioned him all race. It's been the clinical approach up the front. Now 3 seconds clear. Rasmussen just behind him as we come round the final corner for the last time in Heat 2. And Vorse is going to claim a victory here in Heat 2. Rasmussen looks like he is going to take 2nd place. Yes, he is. Herman, round out your pole. Schnabel, Negret, Hay coming across the line there. Smith and Reeve, he's going to hold on and take that victory in AM. 8th overall. Sorensen having to settle for 7th place in AM. Who's going to come across the line next? I think it's going to be who's going to need to clinch that last place on the podium in the AM category. Incredibly close between those 2 guys. Wow, that was definitely a lot more livelier than Heat 1.
Yeah, and we ended up in those little kind of packs a little bit earlier as well. So we had the guys that had the opportunity to battle away without maybe worrying about then losing a fistful of positions quite as much. But again, it was some good racing. They survived the first lap and got through cleanly. Really, we didn't see too many big incidents apart from the kind of what we presume was a bit of an unforced error from Furman on that final corner, and then Akarin, who was also went back to the pits at some point earlier on in the race. I don't think we quite saw that incident, but everyone else, kind of surviving and continuing on pretty well. So it's good to see. We're just waiting for the final cars to cross the line, and then we'll be able to bring up the results, and the session will roll over then to the B final.
Yeah, the second opportunity for drivers who didn't make it through to the final at the first attempt, and just going to head across that section now. But here is the result 2. It's Vorse with the victory. Rasmussen, Hermer, last place on the podium overall. Schnabel, Negret, Hay, and Smith taking 7th place. 8th overall was our winner in AM. Jack Reeve with Stefan Deck in 9th. Sorensen 10th overall, second in with Pop, 11th, and rounding out the podium in the category. There's May, Charney, Pollard, Martinson, Kevalos in 16th, and the last driver on the lead lap. Of course, Furman, we saw the suspension damage to his car. Van Ackeren, he was retired 3 laps ago and finished in 18th place, and just waiting for the last few drivers now to take up the grid, and we're going to be off for the consolidation, the final. So that's a chance for drivers to have another attempt at making the grand final here in round 1. And here come the lights, and let's get ready to go racing once more at Watkins Glen. And we are away, and a blinding start from Bob then, who's qualified initially, but then got really bogged down as Blay, he's managed to sneak his way past, upper place already, and Pop now down into 4th. There was a spinner in the background there, I didn't quite catch who that was. I think it might have been Scarra, in fact, but it is so 4, they are incredibly, oh no, there's an incident there for Pop. After starting on the front row of the grid, it's all gone wrong for him.
Oh, really unfortunate of him there, and also unfortunate for Pollard and Furman. We just barely saw it in the corner of the camera in turn 1. They both hard went into the outside wall on the exit of turn 1, so they are both in the pits for their faster round.
That's good, especially for Furman, because if he hadn't had that incident in Heat 2, where he must have hit the the outside wall. Oh, there's someone else out into the wall there. That was Blay, the Canadian, from the front end of the field. In fact, I think he might even know if he was quite leading, but even so, he's had a big incident, and it's all happening here, Lee, on the opening lap.
No, you're right. We've seen more incidents already in this opening lap than we pretty much saw in the 2 heats combined, but kind of the pressure's on a little bit more, isn't it? If you want to get through to the A final, you've got to be in one of those top 4 positions, and the top 4 are just breaking away a fraction already from the rest of the field. We've got like a 8/10, 9/10 gap between 4th and 5th, so they're already trying to make that break away, and under pressure now is K-Back here. I mean, K-Back and Martinson want to try not to battle if they can. They need to try to pull each other along a little bit, work together, and make sure they don't let 5th and 6th behind catch them up anytime soon.
Yeah, they definitely working together these early strong fights together to see Glamset and Shani. Not working together. These two as almost banging wheels with Shani there as they came through the S's and head out down the back straight. Glamset gets ahead, but here comes Charney back into the slipstream. There's a battle in front of them between Martin and Kai-Back going on, and it looks like Charney could even retake it, but Glamset saying, no you don't, and takes over that 5th place. Wow, spectacular fashion for the pair of them all. Charney just runs it in deep, and well, that's definitely 5th place for Glamsetter.
Yeah, it looks like now he needs to try and get his head down and try and get his way up onto Kai-Back. So there's now nearly a 2-second gap due to that bit of battling. But yeah, we see 5 cars that have taken to pit lane for those repairs in the early instance. That leaving us with 12 cars battling it out. I think Chuck Morey is just a little bit off the back as well. We can see him and Blay 1 lap down. So really, we've got the top 11 cars who are in this battle for those top 4 positions. Looks like Philip Russell might be getting a bit of close attention anytime soon, but otherwise everyone just working their way to try and get these positions.
Let's see, hey, between himself and our leader, Osborne just started to ascend on that 1.7 seconds. In fact, his Martin applying the pressure to May all over the back of it. Versus Pro May, the driver looking to keep hold of that 2nd place right now. The initial stages through the S's, but Martin just biding his time, pulls out with the slipstream, and alongside May, he's going to get the inside line now into the chute, and that's the move done. down the field right now.
Yeah, certainly are. Like I say, the time is ticking away pretty quickly as we're down to these sort of 5-6 minutes already to go for the race. John May, yeah, still trying to have a little look at Martinson, see if he can shape himself up for another attempt shortly. But yeah, these guys just need to keep their noses clean. Al-Zagari up in that first position. They've been looking pretty solid from the start. Martinson just a second back, then May, then Kaibach. And Glamsetter has managed to close a bit. So I said that he was nearly 2 seconds back after his little battle for that 5th spot, and he's closed that to within 1 second now. So yeah, Kaibach and May, or Kaibach especially rather, needs to keep an eye on that pace and see how that's going to shape up.
Definitely does, and it's interesting to see what May does. I mean, he's got this potential here for a 2nd overall. Win in class, and there's definitely some daylight between himself and Kaibach occupying that 4th position. Around about 2 seconds the gap between them right now. As we see May steps up once more behind Martinson, just utilising him to pull away even more so from Kaibach, but down through the field. Dorian Arreo, the American, on the outside of Scarrett there, trying to get the move done, but Garrett not having any of it. Scarrett, one of our pro drivers here, and quite a bit unluckily in his heat, and that's why he finds himself in the B final and having to qualify for the grand final.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's tricky. Yeah, it's the way the cookie crumbles, and you'll win some, you lose some, and as he goes through the season, I'm sure they'll get their opportunity in straight in that A final. But yeah, Martinson.
Sorry, there's a spinner in the background. Then that's Kaibach from 4th place, and he's going to have to wait there for an feel like an absolute eternity, and he slaps the wall as he tries to flick the car back around again into the third to last corner. It is tricky through there because there's a big bump in the middle of the corner, and I'm not even sure he might have caught a bit of the grass on the inside, Lee.
It is a super tricky corner. Like I always found that perhaps the most tricky one on the track. It's a little bit off camber. It's just and you kind of get into the crest of a hill as well. It is very, very tricky to carry that momentum through the corner but not have the rear step out. So yeah, that's cost him a spot now in the A final, and it's promoted Glamsetter, and he's got 3.5 second gap to Charney behind. So it looks like the that top 4 positions are going to be secured, and yeah, we'll just see what other battling we get through the field for these last few minutes. We've got Savelos just a couple of attempts off of ARA, and he's split by the arrows in fact, so 1 in front, 1 behind, and yeah, we'll see if he can make a move.
Another interesting one is Martinson. He's pulled away from May. In doing so, has also managed to catch our leader, the Spaniard, Al-Zagari. That gap is now down to, well, I was going to say 3 attempts. It did drop down as low as 2 attempts there briefly, but he's onto the back of them. They are coming up onto a black marker. I think I might have just clocked in the distance there. I think that's the Gem and Edward Pop they're coming up onto the back of, but Martinson, he is sucked up right behind Al-Zagari. You can hear him just feathering throttle there to ensure that he is in the prime position of being in the slipstream all the way down the back straight.
Yeah, let's see how he shapes up as they work their way up through the S's up to the top. I dare say he's caught him a little bit earlier than he wanted. He's going to have to lift slightly or move out earlier than he really wanted or liked, and we'll see if it's going to be enough to carry him by. I dare say that Al-Zagari is going to have the opportunity to hang in there on the inside, but no, right on cue, Martinson just blows straight past before they even get into the corner.
No hanging around there from Martinson, Swede, taking control of things here in the B final, taking the lead from Al-Zagari, who's held it for, well, 9 minutes out of the 12. But now we enter inside these last 3 minutes of the B final. He now finds himself in 2nd place. However, It's behind them too, May has just extended out a little bit further. Maybe stuck in a bit of a bubble by himself. Glamsetter is behind him, but he's around about 3 seconds down the road, and a bit of a challenge potentially. Glamsetter to counter, and the more intriguing battle further down the field is probably coming between Charney and Garrett. What's happening around? I say that as Garrett just falls a little bit back the back of Charney, but definitely a lot more bigger gaps emerging, and also it was broken up quite early on, wasn't it, Lee, from those incidents we had on the opening lap, which instantly created big pockets of space and time, and thus drivers being out of the slipstream range from one another very, very early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, did break it apart, but we saw some great racing throughout regardless. Like I say, only now is it just maybe kind of settling down a little bit as we get into these closing laps. It's just unfortunate that, yeah, we had those few incidents both at the start and then the odd one a little bit later, but yeah, top 2 pros. Next 3 cars, AMs. It's yeah, we've got 2 pros and 2 AMs looking like they should be getting through to that A1.
Top 10 here, just completed 1 minute 20 remaining here in the B-final. Martinston leading from Al-Ghazari. May, he is leading out 3rd overall, a podium overall for an AMP driver, amazing. Glamsetter, he is in 4th with Charney 5th. Scarrett 3rd of the pros, currently 6th overall with Arroyo. Develos, the other Arroyo and Mauro rounding out your top 10 with Belay and Pop. 11th and 12th, last 2 drivers still on the lead lap as
well, maybe we've just lost Tim there on these closing moments, but yeah, Scarrett putting Charney under a fair bit of pressure as we come to the closing moments of the race. Martinson did get past Al-Sagari, then May, then Glamster, then Charney and Scarrett as we're watching on screen. Scarrett looking like he's going to put a lot of pressure on this final corner. I just misjudged the entry, and unfortunate for Scarrett, but kind of as it was happening, it just kind of didn't look right. Yeah, he got all the timing wrong. He ended up kind of almost getting an overlap on the apex, which is really not where you wanted to be suddenly dealing with an overlap. So yeah, unfortunate for Scarrett, just needed to have maybe backed off a little bit earlier and tried to have had a bit of a run out of the corner. But here we are at the white flag final lap of the race, and yeah, Martinson with that 1.5 second gap over Al-Sagari. Can Savelis here in 7th position put any pressure on Ario? Well, Ario defends very, very early, so Savelis going to have to go to the outside. Can he get a run around the carousel? And who's going to be the bravest as they head in? There's a good attempt from Savalas, but not quite able to keep enough momentum. It looks like Ario should have this covered off for this next left-hand corner as well. But yeah, nice tidy racing from those two as they come to the closing moments. I think the leaders, here we are right on cue, coming through the final section now. Mattis Martinson been looking pretty strong all race long, making that move on Al-Sagari just with a lap or 2 to go, and in fact breaking away quite a bit, pulled 2 seconds now on Al-Sagari. So yeah, congratulations to Martinson. That's him through into the A final, and we'll see what he can do then in that 16-minute race to finish things off. Then we've got Al-Sagari, then May, and then Glamister taking that final playoff position in that 4th spot. Yeah, capitalising on the issue from Werner Kaibach, wasn't it? I think a little bit earlier on. Ario did hold on from Savelis there in that closing moments as Savelis jumps on the brakes and gives us a big lump of tyre smoke. And yeah, we'll just be waiting for these finishing cars to come round, and then the session will be progressing. We'll just run a short advert now, as we have a few minutes as well before the A final with a 3-minute gap in between. So yeah, quick word from our sponsors, Apex Racing Academy, and then we should be back in a few moments. And so thank you to Apex Racing Academy there, of course, the title sponsor of the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series. And here are results from that B-final. So yeah, Mattis Martinson, as we saw, taking the win, 1.8 seconds over Jose Ogasari. John May then in third with Christian Glamster in fourth. Kambali Chani in fourth with Dorian Ario in... Trani in fifth with Dorian Ario in sixth. Jamie Duke Savelis in seventh. Alexander Scarrett eighth. Dorian Arano 2 in ninth. Chuck Morrow 10th. Michael Blay 11th. Edward Pop in 12th, Philip Russell, then Nick Polliard, Werner Kaibach, Rick Van Ackeren, and then Make Furman in 17th. So like I say, it was unfortunate for Ackeren and Furman. I think those were the two cars that got caught up at the start in turn one. So yeah, we've got a couple of minutes now as the guys have a little bit of a warm-up. So these are, remember, the top 10 from Heat 1, the top 10 from Heat 2, and the top 4 from that B-final we just watched, all now in this final race of the evening. So Apex Racing Academy, just provide a bit more information about them. They supply over 30 different data packs for each iRacing week, following a large number of official iRacing series. They provide then in that data pack setups, O-laps, B-laps, and replay files for you to download. They also provide tutorial video track guides with hot laps, cockpit and chase views as well. There's integration with Virtual Racing School telemetry for those that have a Virtual Racing School subscription as well. Also provide weekly group coaching sessions and more. So if you're interested in learning how to get faster, more consistent, and learn from those who are competing at the very top of iRacing, then you can find out more at apexracingac.com. Also sponsoring tonight is Virtual Racing School. So Virtual Racing School can improve your on-track performance of over 50 data packs, road and oval racing. Of course, Virtual Racing School is the leader for the iRacing telemetry system. Yeah, so that's what all the pro teams are going to be using to analyze exactly where it is that they're gaining or losing time, and help them to get as consistent and fast as they possibly can. Of course, now they've also come out with hardware. So check out their Direct Force Pro wheelbases, pedals, and more products coming from them soon. You can find out them at virtualracingschool.com. And then just to continue, or just to finish rather, paying the bills, we also want to thank SDK Gaming, the provider of our overlay and live timing system. So SDK Gaming allows you to display a live virtual HUD on top of your iRacing, either when driving, or that's just viewable to maybe viewers when you're streaming, or for a broadcast such as this, for if you're trying to run a little broadcast for your friends or something, you can use the exact same overlay that we're running here. You can stream to Twitch with that, as well as any other platform, of course. And you can find out more about them at sdk-gaming.co.uk. So as I said, that's the bills paid for the evening. So now we can have a quick look at the starting grid for our A final. And we saw the two strong cars from Heat 1 and Heat 2 going to be lining up alongside each other, of course, for this final. So Rosenkrantz in pole position with Vorsvent in second, then Thomas Torp and then Nicholas Rasmussen, Gavin Petty and Samuel Hermer. 7th and 8th is going to be Swemstra and Schnebel. Nicholas Vestman in 9th with Justin Negrete in 10th. Bimo Braun in 11th with Alistair Hay in 12th. 13th is Alejandro Lado. 14th is Aaron Smith. 15th is Kit Larson. 16th Jack Reeve. 17th Rickard Bobeck. 18th Stefan Deck. 19th is James Cockram. And 20th is Lasse Sorensen. So full grid of 24 cars. Lights are counting down, and we are away for the first A final of the season here in the ARA F3 VRS Super Series. And Brian Vorst covers a nose off of Rosenkrantz. He got a great launch off the line, just like he did in Heat 2. Both very, very wide. Big incident in the background as well. I see that Vorst comes out in the lead. It was Negrete and Weissman, I think, off the start. I see in the timing screen, and the top three cars nose to tail as they work their way up through the S's, and now coming towards the back straight. Rosenkrantz and Torp going to be putting Vorst under a lot of pressure. Rasmussen getting his nose in there as well. They're going to be 3 or 4 wide as they come into the carousel. Vorst on the inside. Who's going to be bravest and deepest going in? Force looking pretty good on entry, and Rosenkrantz trying to hang in there. But maybe Thomas Torp who's going to just end up coming out ahead, and it is so Vos, Sven Torp, then Rosenkrantz, Hermer just getting ahead of Rasmussen there as they come through that last sequence. Top 6-7 cars just breaking away already from 8th position leading.
Wow, I've managed to get back just in time, Lee. Apologies about that. Wonders of technology in live telly, but yeah, just in time to watch it. Well, absolutely cracking start there from Vos. Let's just see the two teammates battling out of Hermer and Petty.
Yeah, like I say, Vorster got a great start in his first race as well, so he repeated that this time by. Like I say, that's certainly made the difference for him getting off the line. Been looking pretty clean elsewhere through the field as far as we can see. Like I say, there was an incident in the background at turn 1, but otherwise looking pretty close. But there, the rest of the way through, and the guy was already streaming around to complete this first lap.
I'll tell you what, Cochrom's had an absolute blinding opening lap of 7 places already. Onto it. Well, just as I mentioned, I think something's happened to him. He's falling through the order. Being gutted by that one as we see Petty and Hermer there. Teammates need to be working together a bit more because Rosenkrantz ahead of them. He's breaking away likewise with his drivers of Torp and Vorst ahead of him. They start to move away, and well, they're having a right scrap of their own up front. As Rosenkrantz moves ahead of Torp, but in the background there, Hermer, this is Petty, they're still side by side, almost blocking the road off to allow no one else to get through at this stage. 2.5 minutes complete, we've got 15 minutes of racing. Wow, it's going to be fascinating as Vos and Rosenkrantz still at one another, and Vos just about holding off the advances of Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, no, pretty lucky a moment ago as they were coming through the chute. It looked like there was a little bit of contact maybe between the two, and Vos had a bigger wobble, but just about surviving. Rasmussen under pressure now for, or rather doing the attacking on Petty, but not quite able to make that happen that time by, and actually lost quite a bit of time through the corner in the end as well. Was yeah, top 3 breaking away, and Hermer then is the one that's chasing after him.
Interesting to see what Hermer can do now. He's way past his teammate Petty, maybe just a little bit of reversal there where Petty was just dropping a bit of time initially to those top 3. Rosenkrantz setting the new fastest lap, but those times will only come down the further we get into the final here from Watkins Glen. As we see Rasmussen still tucked behind Petty, just biding his time for now. But well, it's Vos versus Rosenkrantz once more. Torp has dropped back a little as here comes Rosenkrantz around the outside, and well, I think he's carried a lot of speed off there, Lee. I was going to say it looks like he's going to get the move done. He definitely has.
Yeah, Vos under putting Rosenkrantz under a lot of pressure there as they come into the corner, but yet not enough to make the difference that time by. Looking super close just throughout the field on our timing screen. We can just see yellow and red gaps all the way through. Venstra doing a good job as they come off the chute, just trying to drive off the corner and not allow an opportunity for Lado there to make that move. You know, more points available for this race, of course, than in the B-final, and but for the drivers that competed in the B-final, they will get a few points as well. So yeah, all to play for. These guys, Rosenkrantz at the front, still Vos tracking him. I dare say these two are just going to gap Torp a little bit as they go through the race. You know, we've got a little bit more time. Remember, 15-minute race this one instead of the 12 minutes from the previous, and we'll see how this battle continues to develop. I dare say this is going to be how they're going to look pretty much all race long.
I think it is, and well, Rosenkrantz and Vos, I'm sure those two are not going to leave each other alone the entirety of the 10 minutes that are remaining in the final. So lots of time to cover, but equally it will go by in the blink of an eye. As you see in the background there, Petty and Hermer have swapped places once more. Those two clearly trying to use the slipstream to the best of their effect to close in on this top. Maybe where Torp is just trying to drop back a little bit, just maybe picking off as it seems a bit vulnerable as Vos. He's going to take the lead round the outside. He's holding on for dear life with every little bit of grip he can find, and he's going to find himself up the inside position as Rosenkrantz still holding on. It's his turn to hold on for dear life this time, and that's going to give Rosenkrantz the inside line into this next corner. And is he going to shut the door on the Force on the exit? No, he's not, as Force still holding on somehow. I'm not sure how he is doing it, as these two still side by side. As you see Rosenkrantz just pushing Force out wide there. And as they come through the third to last corner, finally Force gets the move done. They started nearly over half a lap ago. And well, now Force, he's under attack from Rosenkrantz once more. And these two, they need to be careful, because these aren't normal places that you can make moves on one another, and it's going to cost them a lot of time. Well, in fact, it has. Look how close Herma and Petty are now onto the back of these two, as Rosenkrantz just takes the lead once more from Force.
Just some great racing between those two all the way through. I mean, it's classic Watkins Glen, isn't it? Like we were talking about earlier on, the layout of the circuit really allows that battle to continue on. What a great view now from the back of Rosenkrantz. He's got not just Vorse but Torp, and then the third car that was about to come into view as well of Herma. So they're going to be 2 by 2 as they work their way out to the carousel. Vorse going for that outside line again, which he did a good job on last time. Let's see if he can make that line work for him again. Just a bit too wide this time. No, Force somehow keeps it all pointing forward. Quite how he managed to keep hold of that, only he knows. But yeah, Rosenkrantz in second. Vorse somehow doesn't even lose a position. Herma, Petty, Torp, and the rest behind, I dare say, lost a couple of years off their life seeing that flash before them just at the end.
I tell you what, there is a massive scrap going on once more, because look, Vorse, he's under pressure from Herma now. Torp, he's lost a couple of places to the teammates of Herma and Petty. Oh wow, what a finale here in round one. And well, I'll tell you what, if it's half as good as this for the rest of the season, we know we're in for an absolute cracking season of racing here in the Apex Racing Academy F3 Championship.
Yeah, I hope so. And the fact that, again, we've not had too many big incidents of things, I hope it gives the encouragement to stick with the series. Hopefully we see nice big grids all the way through. There's a couple of different formats being used as we go through the season. So, yeah, it should be some good racing all the season long. And, yeah, basically all of the top 13 cars all within a second of each other. It's only when we get down to 14th and Ricardo that we just have our first 2-second gap.
Whistle past the camera there, and starting to, well, gaps starting to emerge. It's hardly anything really. Battles everywhere, drivers moving around on the back straight, and Torp, he's in depression now from Rasmussen, and Torp will be desperate not to lose at yet another place. He's almost onto the grass there on the entry into the chute. Just about bent off Rasmussen, but Luedo, he's closing in. The Spaniard, he's not far behind these two, and this group of 5 cars that are basically battling it out for the lead here. Well, essentially some 6 of them really, with Rasmussen right onto the back of them. Just over 1 3/4, so just under 1 3/4 seconds, covering our top 6. Everything's still to play for, as we've got 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here at Watkins Glen. Vorse right onto the back of Rosenkrantz. Start placing your bets now. Who's going to come out on top come the end of the back straight this time around? Because cars this closely, it could go absolutely anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Like I say, who knows who the order is going to finish? None of the drivers still out there. For sure, we can see guys still putting in their fastest laps at the minute as they're coming over the line. Each of those lap times in green means it's the fastest that they have produced so far for this race. Brian Vorse looking to shape up. Rosenkrantz again as they come up through the S's. Rosenkrantz having a big old blink. Hopefully he doesn't have that too many more times. Vorse right up underneath the rear wing, moves out. Let's see if he can make this favoured position of his work and not end up too wide this time as he did the last time. Much tighter this time, but not quite able to keep the same momentum. Rosencross covers off the space, and Torp and Petty looking very, very close just behind as well.
It's hard to know where to look with such close battles, just in one camera shot, let alone up and down the field, as Balls just had to back out of it a little bit there against Rosenkrantz. Hermer lurking in the background. You watch Petty just in the off camera a little bit there, just getting a little bit squirrely on exit, leaving vulnerable to Torp. But right now, Balls trying to get back alongside Rosenkrantz as he's shoved, well, almost cutting the front end of Hermer's car off there, as Hermer just biding his time as Force is a little bit twitchy on the exit. Hermer not with the best of runs to be able to put himself alongside. That won't bother him too much surely at this stage of the raid, but Rosenkrantz still, oh no! Someone's off in the background. I think that was Petty! He's had a big incident coming into the last corner. He is gone. We're now down to pretty much a top three in this fight for the lead. So this is what happened to Gavin Petty. I mean, I saw off the camera, he just carried straight. Oh, the dreaded iRacing grass has caught him out there.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. All it takes is that wheel in the grass and you're a passenger. Obviously no opportunity for runoff area there with the wall almost straight away after the corner. So yeah, that's Petty's A final done. Interestingly, Vorst not quite able to get alongside this time in the carousel for the first time in quite a few laps, but Torp, Hermer, Rasmussen are looking so tight between the three of them, all battling for that podium spot.
I'll tell you what, Hermer, he's dropped a bit of time because he was stepped up behind Rosenkrantz and Forbes, and now he finds himself, well, Torp has made his way past him and decided the big chunk of time that he's lost as well. So something's happened to him, I'm not too sure what. I'll try and work that one out here shortly, but it has meant that he's thrown into this mix now of, well, I'm trying to have a bit of a look. Luedo's now onto the back of them. Likewise is Smith and Svenstra in the fight as well. So realistically, we've got, what, about 6 cars battling out for the last place on the podium. Wow, I don't think how this is going to turn out. We've got, well, only 4 minutes until we find out, luckily.
Yeah, it's flown by, has this A final, but so I just think each lap is going to continue as it is. They're going to keep battling away, swapping positions each time by. Rosenkrantz having that 3/10 gap as they come up through the S's, so I dare say Vorst is going to be pressuring him again, just as Rasmussen is pressuring Hermer here as we work our way up through the S's, and we can see the leaders just ahead of this as well, so it'll be a great camera view to see the battle for the lead and for the podium. So Rasmussen looking to make a move on Hermer. We can see up ahead that Vorst is still tucked in the slipstream of Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz defending on Vorst as well up there, just as Rasmussen's having to swap back and forth from his position as well. And in the end, Hermer manages to continue on. Rasmussen trying desperately to get around the outside of Torp, and just about he's going to cover it off as they come into the chute. Can he get the drive off the corner? He can. So yeah, position made for Rasmussen, and just behind Lado under lots of pressure as well.
So Lado, he's just made it past Smith. The Brit being demoted down to 7th place. They have got Zemstra sits right behind him. That freeway battle now all over 6th place as, well, Zemstra trying to make it 3 wide. Smith around the outside, Luedo, and that is, well, is it going to get the move done? I think it is. Smith now with this inside line, and the Spaniard, Luedo, oh, just saves it, but wow, hey, nearly into the back of him there. Wow, that could have been gone wrong, but Luedo losing out big time, down to 10th, and with work to do. Even if he just wants to recover to 8th, but tell you what, the white flag flies here at Watkins Glen. 1 lap, 2 cars. Who will come out on top? Will it be Rosenkrantz? Will it be Vorst? Germany versus Sweden for the victory in race 1. And as they come up through the S's, for me, surely Vorst has got to be in prime position because he's going to have that slipstream all the way down the back straight against Rosenkrantz.
He caught him a little bit early though, so he had to come out really early out the slipstream, but he's in his favoured position of trying to go around the outside of a carousel. Can Rosenkrantz defend enough from it? Rosenkrantz tight to the inside. Vorse just about perfect as well. Didn't run too wide. Managed to keep the momentum off the corner. Almost bang wheels Tim as they come into the shoot. Vorse gets a much better shoot, and Rosenkrantz all of a sudden is nowhere and's got catch up to do. So he's got just a few corners remaining now to close these 3/10 on Vorse and get that position made. His last opportunity really is going to be along this next straight into the hill.
I see coming out of the zone, that is Irma. He has lost place to Rasmussen. He's making his way past Torp as well.
Oh, he died.
Oh, this is gonna be close. Force pushed right out to the extremities of the track and some more, nearly onto the grass. But he gets the cutback and he's gonna get up the inside. He's got a couple attempts over Rosenkrantz, who's gonna get the best exit. Surely this is gonna be Vorse's now. And Rasmussen, he's managed to pull away from Hammer and to grab that last podium position. But as they come through the final corner, Vorse is going to take the checkered flag here for the first final of the season. Rosenkrantz and Rasmussen rounding out your podium in the final. And wow, what a grandstand finish here.
That was a cracking finish between the leaders and the rest of the field. To be fair, there's plenty of good battles elsewhere, but kind of like I said, really, like Vorse had been almost practicing that move all race long, right, taking that outside line. We saw him run a little bit wide on one earlier on. He kind of got that adjustment in mind, and nailed it then on that carousel run. And actually, what made the difference then was the shoot. He just got a much better shoot. Rosenkrantz just ran a little bit deep, I think, and couldn't keep at apex speed. Quite a dive from Rosenkrantz at the end. It was his last opportunity, like I said, going into the hill. But fortunately, Vorse saw him, avoided the apex, came away from the apex, which is why he went so wide on exit, and did well to one, not get hit by Rosenkrantz, and two, to keep that momentum and keep it going. So yeah, cracking job by the pair of them.
Definitely was, wasn't it? And wow, what an absolute battle between the pair of them. And Watkins does allow for that slipstream, effect and the ability to have battles like that. But even so, what an absolute cracker here at Apex Racing TV to kickstart the season. Couldn't wish for much more. And just waiting for the last couple of drives to come across the line and be able to bring in the official classified results here. But there you go, Vorse taking your victory with Rosenkrantz having to settle for second in the end. Rasmussen rounding out the podium. Hermer, he looks in control of that podium place for much of the race, but ends up finishing fourth for PDR. Torp in the end fell through the field after a good start, and the Agile coatings driver finishes fifth. Smith sixth, Zenstrat seventh, Braun eighth. With Larson ninth. Luedo, well, he was much further up, but that's half spin caught him out, and he ends up finishing in 10th. Then it's the three AM drivers with Reed, Boberg, and Sorensen making up 11th, 12th, and 13th. Martinson 14th, Regret 15th. Agari in 16th. Glamsetter 4th in AM, 17th overall. Schnabel, Vestman, Hay, and taking up to 20th. Petty, of course, that contact with the wall manages to still finish on the lead lap. Impressive from him. Likewise, Cockram, he had an issue. Ends up finishing 22nd, but still on the lead lap with May 1 lap down, and Deck, who retired 5 laps ago, rounding out your field.
And what a field it was! A cracking final there. And to be fair, all four races today, Tim, I thought were at a very high standard, especially for round one. You can often have a bit of a tough time at round one. Get new drivers, new formats, maybe new cars, new tracks. But the guys all did a cracking job out there today.
Tell you what, let's have a bit of a chat to a couple of our drivers. As
so let's
technical difficulties here. I was going to say we have a bit of a chat to Rosenkrantz, who's sat waiting patiently in the wings.
I was actually going to bring in. Let's bring in Tobias Olsen first. So Tobias Olsen actually was Brian Vorse, who we were referring to all race long. So a bit of adjustments to be made on the overlay to identify Tobias there correctly. But congratulations there, Tobias, on that race win. It was a seriously hard fought battle there with you and Rosenkrantz throughout the A final.
Yeah, thanks. It was quite crazy battle, I would say. And clean, so really nice. I enjoyed it a lot. I had to plan my overtake on the last lap, but it went well, and yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what we were talking about on the commentary. It looked like you had a good few dress rehearsals for that move around the outside. You had your one scary moment making that move with the rear snapping loose of you just clipping the grass on exit. Somehow managed to hold on to it and keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. I had a scary moment there, but I survived. So yeah, pretty happy with tonight. Good start to the championship, I guess. Not so happy with qualifying. I should have done a lower fuel run, I think, but overall, I'm happy. So.
And how are you feeling with the F3 car in this iRacing build? I heard a bit of talk earlier on about maybe the tyres coming in a bit more predictably, allowing you to kind of push through the race a bit better. I mean, kind of what's your thoughts on that side?
I think it's positive. I think the car is more realistic and the tires are more realistic, and I think it suits me a bit better because I can feel the tires a bit more now. So it's really good.
Awesome to hear. All we can hope is that iRacing keep making these little tweaks here and there and make things better, head in the right direction. And like we saw today, we get better racing from it as well. So good to see.
Yeah.
Congratulations again on the tonight's result, Tobias. We look forward to you continuing your championship challenge as we go through the season. Silverstone GP next week, of course. It's a similar track in some ways to Watkins. Fast corners, fairly long lap. Feeling confident there as well, yeah?
Yeah, the fast corner should suit me pretty well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Right, we look forward to seeing you fighting at the front again, and good luck for next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers. Yeah, so good to hear from Tobias there. Tim, like I say, otherwise known as Brian Voss. But you like to say, yeah, cracking battle all the way through between him and Rosenkrantz, who we can speak to next.
Yeah, it's be interesting to have a good chat with Chris Rosenkrantz. Welcome along. What an epic battles with yourself and Tobias in the end there. Pretty much the whole race.
Yes, I'm quite happy with the result. We had I had hard fights together with Tobias Olsen. Finally I finished second, but I'm quite happy because I didn't expect it to be on top during the first event on this track, because this track is for me a quite tricky track, because if you are on pole position or something else what we did today, you don't know if you will finish the race first, because the slipstream on this track is quite immense because of the long straights. Yes, of course, I think so.
It was an obviously, you were locked into that, really close battle with Tobias, and you did have Sam Hermer up with you. Of course, he then, had a slight mistake and dropped back from you. How relieved were you when you saw Hermer fall back? So it was just pure, just a battle between yourself and Tobias.
Yes, it is how it is. So I think on this track is always close racing, so you have to stay on focus and just drive. Don't focus so much on the back, just a bit, because if you focus not so on the back, you can go off track and they will push you out or something. So you have to be also sporty to the other drivers.
Definitely. And well, congratulations on the second place in the opening round. Before we let you go, is anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Yes, I want to thank my sim racing team, Simsa Esports, and their boss Peter Klavitter for trusting in me. And I'm really happy to have the opportunity to drive in such a professional team. And yes, let's look forward for the next few races. And also thanks to you guys for the broadcasting.
Our pleasure completely. That Chris Rosenkrantz, who finished second here today at Watkins Glen. Definitely interesting insights from them. I'll let you take that last interview, Lee. I'll let you have the honours.
Yeah, and I said, I dare say we're going to hear a lot more from both Tobias and Rosenkrantz as we continue through the season. So I think they're going to be the two battling away at the front as we go through. Another car who we saw at the front today was Aaron Smith, gaining a lot of positions at different points during the evening. Congratulations, Aaron! If I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw you on the back of a grid for at the start of your heat race, right?
Oh god, that's so embarrassing. So like I went to put in more fuel and I just missed the grid because I forgot I was on my quali setup, and I tried to change and I just barely missed the start by like a second or two. So I had to. I thought like, oh, that's a shame. I'll probably be in the consolation race, and magically, I just end up in seventh. And it wasn't like it's a race of attrition because the racing today has actually been fairly clean compared to the previous seasons, and I'm really happy that we actually have some proper racing now. And it was really good to just make my way through the field, especially in that feature race, coming from 14th to 6th. It was so good. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah, well, say great job of making your way through the field at those times. And you're absolutely right. It was a fantastic round one. We thought there wasn't too many incidents. 90 kind of +% of the field finished each of the races. So yeah, it felt like some good clean racing out there from the driver's point of view as well.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, again, I think I only saw like one incident across all the races, like from just spectating, and like it was really good, especially that fight for the lead between Olsen and Rosenkrantz. Like watching it from P6, like all the way back here, they were just going at it every single lap, and it was so good to see that we actually have some proper racing, and it was also good to see that like I could make moves and fight with people properly, and it would be a fair fight, and we'd both be pretty fair with it. And especially going down that straight, I thought it'd be chaos, but it was really clean, and I'm really happy to see it.
Awesome. Yeah, we're happy to see it as well. And for yourself, Aaron, in the pro category this season, after being an AM champion previously, how are you feeling about your opportunities in pro? Like, what are your objectives maybe for the championship through the season?
Coming into this season, I think I probably would have been. I didn't really know what championship I'd be put in, but I think because I'm in pro, it just my mindset's changed. Like I feel like I can actually fight with people now, and I think today's really proved to myself and a lot of other people that I can properly fight with the pros. And even I was speaking to Rasmussen, and even he was saying like the amount of progress I've made over the course of a few weeks, even from our last race to now, is just amazing. And had it not been for a few little incidents, I probably could have like fought him for P3 today. And yeah, I think over the course of the season I'll be able to fight for top 5 in the championship. I think it's definitely achievable.
Awesome. Well, good luck for that, and we look forward to seeing you progress. And like I say, it'd be great if you manage to feel like you're competing in the pro category as well. So yeah, congratulations again for your results tonight, and don't forget about your race set for next week.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, first set of races completed for the season, Tim. Just like we've been saying and the driver's been saying, what a cracking first race. I think Watkins helps that. It's a track that allows those drivers to race, but nonetheless, the guys did a great job out there with 40 plus car meeting to provide us some great racing.
It was well, what a great advert for what is going to be an absolutely amazing series, like say, back for a 6th season. And well, I mean, if it's half as good as that, it's just going to get better and better and better, surely. And I mean, if that's been enough excitement for you for one evening, coming up in 15 minutes time on the channel, it's Formula Renault 3.5 as they kick off their season at Suzuka. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one. And tomorrow night on the channel, we've got SRF Weekend Warriors. They return from Monza from 8 PM GMT. And then we've also got the Finding Speed League as they head to Sebring. As well, so have WEC, so have IMSA. So why not their league as well from 8:45 GMT. And then at midnight, we have got the XSLR Championship. They are in their Lotus 79 in the road section of the championship as they head to, well, where we are tonight at Watkins Glen, and then 1 a.m. GMT is the Colorado Karting Tour. For those of you that are either on the eastern western part of the world, or maybe just like burning the midnight oil. Well, Lee, if you had to pick out one moment from this evening, what will be your favourite?
I think the save from Brian Vore / Tobias Olsen coming off of the carousel and somehow avoiding, second place back to 7th, all getting kind of wiped out in his mess, and then managing to continue on to take the victory. So yeah, that's probably going to be the highlight from the evening, and hopefully there'll be many more of those through the rest of the season.
Definitely, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And like I say, so much of the season to go. It's been an absolute epic evening of racing, with Olsen taking the victory here for the first race of the season. I've been Tim Cox with Lee Thompson and John Bromson in the production booth, and we'll see you in a week's time as the championship heads to Silverstone.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.